Hi guys, it's me again, and we're going to look at some stats here today. So first of all, I shouldn't have started here. I should start over here at the standings. You can see, once again, I show this to you all the time. I know the American League is very, very tight. The Browns are in first place by one game over both the Athletics and the Red Sox. There's a lot of parity here in this American League. The team that won in real life, the Tigers, are down in sixth. The Naps, who were neck and neck with them all season, are in seventh. The White Sox are a little bit better. They're in fourth place right now, but it's still too early to say much. The National League is shaping up the way that we thought it would, and kind of like it did in real life. The Cubs and the Pirates and the Giants, and the Cubs are really the team to beat, the defending world champions. And that's the way that this works. Now, we're going to look at some of these statistics. Skeetersoft is actually pretty cool in terms of the amount of statistics you can get, and as we will see here, some of the accuracy of the statistics. We'll just take a quick look through this and figure out who the leaders are in the league. I'm going to do a real quick thing here. Let's see if I can find this. So I've got Baseball Reference always drives me nuts when I write Major League Baseball instead of MLB for whatever reason. There are problems. There are problems everywhere. I want to look here quickly at the batting leaders. Here we go. Here are the batting leaders. For some reason, it's over in this strange place. And we don't want to see... why is Mathewson the batting leader for wins above replacement? That's really weird. What I wanted to see was something more basic, like batting average. And we'll look at this just to sort of get an idea of what happened in real life, right? It was Wagner and then Donlin, Cobb, Crawford, and so on and so forth. Here so far, Donlin has been hitting 377, hitting a little bit above himself. We have a number of National League players who have very, very high averages compared to what they were in real life. Home run leaders and stuff like that, we're not going to worry about too much. It's too early in the season. We'll take a look over here at the American League now. You can see in the American League so far, it's Clark who has had that excellent start to the season. I think it is Josh Clark. And he's been followed by Gessler for the Red Sox. This doesn't line up really much at all. So it's going to take a while for some of these players to get their rules and to get things to shake out. You can tell that here from the low at-bat total. And remember, we just finished April, right? We're going to start with the next game on May 1st. So that's part of the reason why it hasn't totally shaken out yet. You can see like the OPS leaders and stuff like that are set up here, double, triple leaders, walk leaders, stolen base leaders, and so on. If there are multiple players tied like this, you can hover your mouse over it. It will tell you how many players are tied. Evers says 12 stolen bases, 7 times caught stealing. I don't know what he actually was like in real life. We'll worry about that a little bit more when we get into the season. And, of course, Clark is hitting very, very well for the Naps, who are playing really poorly. So interesting stuff to look into. As far as pitching is concerned, it's all about Kamnitz for the Pirates and Raymond for the Cardinals. I mean, some of these ERAs are really, really low. It's going to get a little bit higher as we go along, of course, but it'll be something interesting to keep track of. Cy Young, too, with the 0.53 ERA. How about that? So the dice rolls have not exactly been going the hitters' ways in some of these games, but not necessarily in all of them. There's some other cool stats you can look at, like home run allowed leaders, not really so cool for 1908. Walk allowed leaders, again, probably not that important at this part of the season. The coolest one, of course, is the batting average against leaders, and that's because the way this is formulated is supposed to be in accordance with the batting average against for each of the pitchers. That's the way that NP3 works. So we'll keep that in mind as we move. Again, it's so early in the season that it's not really going to matter that much, but as you can see, Cy Young is leading in the American League, so something to pay attention to. We'll see what happens as we continue to move along. This is what I really wanted to get to, though, which is the league numbers. Now, unfortunately, for some reason, I have to click on Get Team Stats every time we look into this. There's going to be a bunch of clicking. But we want to take a look really quick and see how the league matches up. So we'll compare the American League to the American League in real life and just take a look. We're not going to worry about team-by-team statistics as much as we'll worry about sort of like what the overall statistics are. And again, I'm not worried about like home runs and stuff because, I mean, we haven't played enough games for this to come out. It's amazing to me, by the way, that we already have had 4,614 plate appearances in the American League alone. So that shows you how much we've played. In real life, it was, 239 for the batting average against 232 in the replay, 294 on-base percentage against 291, which is really close. Slugging percentage was 304 to real life against 293. That's a little bit off. So we'll see what happens. There should be some more offense that's sort of coming around. We'll see. We'll see what we end up having happen as the season progresses. We'll look here now next at the fielding, or sorry, the pitching statistics. Again, we'll just look up a couple of things really, really quickly in terms of, let's see here, probably ERA is one of the things that we want to look at right away. The league ERA, of course, was 2.39 in the American League in 1908. Here it's 2.22. So the ERA is a little bit lower than normal. And it's probably because I've been playing a bunch of like star pitchers, haven't been starting a whole bunch of the dregs, and guys tend to pitch the full game. That might always stay that way. But check this out. Walks and hits per innings pitched, 1.13 in the replay compared to 1.133 in real life. Isn't that amazing? That's right on. That is dead on. That is impressive. And then the batting average, of course, we already looked at the batting average over in batting, 239 compared to 233 in the replay, which is, I would say, pretty close. We'll go take a look here at the National League. I will show you the fielding statistics briefly. 47 double plays so far. I'm not quite as worried about that, other than just to know that, that is kind of in pretty much more or less in line with what happened in real life. National League batting statistics now. In the replay, 231 is all they're hitting. And we have two teams. The Reds and the Cardinals are not even hitting 200, which is pretty low. That didn't happen in real life. 231 compared to 239, that's not that far off, right? And remember, this stuff will even out as teams get more rolls. On base percentage, 286 in the replay compared to 299, so that's a bit further off. But the slugging percentage here is right on, 300 compared to 306. That's more along the lines of what we want to see, right? That's what we would consider to be a little bit more realistic. In terms of pitching, in the, let's see here, wrong window, in the National League, we're looking at what a team ERA or league-wide ERA of, where did you go? Where is the ERA here? 2.35 compared with 2.48. So the ERA is a bit higher here in Skeetersoft than in real life. It's interesting. So the American League was lower, National League is higher. But remember, it's just the end of April. It's all. The WHIP 1.11 compared to 1.14. That's almost dead on again. That's really, really impressive. And then, of course, we already saw the batting average, 232 compared to 239, which I anticipate will end up getting a little bit better. We'll look here at the fielding statistics really, really briefly. Fielding statistics, all I really care about, I mean, putouts and stuff like that, I don't care so much about that. I do care about the double plays, right? And we're looking at 76 double plays after, 16 games. So that's about 10%, maybe a little over 10% of your season compared to 600 exactly in real life. Double plays might be a little bit higher than they were in real life, but I'm not 100% certain on that. There's one other thing now that I think about it that we really should look up too, which is sort of measuring how I'm doing, and that's going to be looking at the sacrifice hits. So sacrifice hits here in the National League, where do we have it? There were 1,655 in real life compared to 130 so far. So the way that we're going to do this, of course, is we're going to pull out our trusty old calculator. There it is. And we're going to do a little bit of math, right? So we had, 130 sacrifice hits divided by, I don't know how many games, right? Let's see here. 16, 15, 15, 16, 16. 124 games divided by 2, so it's, I'm sorry, should be 124 games. That's actually correct. That's, divided by 2, so 62. If I had 130 sacrifice hits out of 62 games, so it's an average of about 2.096 per game, right? And then when I look over here, what we have in terms of sacrifice hits are 1655 divided by 1244. Come back over here. 1.33. So we have probably too many sacrifice hits so far, at least in the National League, compared to the American. That's an important thing to keep in mind because that is something that is based upon myself and my own contributions, right? That's something that we can change. Now, we'll look in the American League, and we have 154 out of however many games this is. Let's see, 16 plus 16 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 16 plus 16 plus 15 is 124. We'll get 165 divided by 124, 1.33. Let me go ahead and look up here and see. You know what? I wonder if it shouldn't have been divided by 124, actually, now that I think about it. Anyway, you can let me know in the comments exactly what I'm doing wrong, but I'm pretty sure it actually should be divided by that because these columns are all added up. This would be per team, not just per game, right? And so in the American League, you're looking at, what, 1576 divided by 1244 is 1.266, which means that we're actually right on. So anyway, apologies for that. This is what happens when you don't take a take beforehand. You end up with a little bit of confusion. But I think here in the National League, actually, if there are 124 games, we're at 162 divided by 124, which does mean 1.30 sacrifices, which is right on with real life, which was 1.33. So that makes me feel a little bit better. The last thing that we want to look at here, of course, is stolen bases and caught stealing. We don't have any caught stealing figures. We do have stolen base figures. This is for the National League. And so we have, 162 total stolen bases out of 124 games. So 162 divided by 124 means that we have, exactly that number. Yeah, look at that. I was doing the wrong column. It should be 130 divided by 124. So our sacrifice hits are actually too low. So we have 1.3 stolen bases per every game of the season. Then we have 1372 divided by 1244, which is a 1.10 in real life. So stolen bases are running a little bit hot in the National League, and we'll go check that here in the American League as well. I'll probably actually, when I write the blog post, I'll probably actually take the time to sit down and make sure I know what I'm doing before I write it. 165 stolen bases divided by 124 games played is 1.33, right? And here in real life, we have where's the total? There we go. 1350 divided by 1244 is 1.08. So you can see that the stolen bases are running a little bit high. Sacrifice hits are just about right on for both leagues so far. So I kind of like the method I have for sacrifice hits. Stolen bases are a little bit high. Caught stealing is probably also a little bit high. Again, we'll see if this changes or not. It depends still a lot on kind of what role people get. And that's the way this is going so far. Overall, though, this has been a pretty good replay so far. I would argue to say that since this is 1908, which is one of those seasons that just about every game has trouble with, that this replay is going quite well, all things considered, and that any 1908 replay would be more than happy to have statistics like that that end up being so close to what they were in real life, especially the batting and on-base percentage, slugging percentage, and the ERA statistics. And I do think as we move along that this stuff will start really converging over to the mean. It might be a little bit off, though, and it may be off because of player usage or something like that, something that I probably won't take much time to look into or fix before the end of the season because I'm stubborn like that. So anyway, there you go. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll talk with you again later. Bye.